Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to Legacy Phoenix tonight for the Phoenix 100 in the Warriors for Peace Classic Series. My name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me tonight, David Huckleberry. Dave, how you doing here tonight?
Doing good. Ready to watch some kazoo cars, as you call it, in the desert.
Absolutely. We have a smaller field tonight. 8 kazoo cars going to make the start here. 100 laps around the old Phoenix circuit. 100 laps, as I mentioned, 50% fuel capacity, 2 sets of tires, so 1 on the car, 1 in the pits. And as you see there, the conditions tonight are very comparable to an ice rink. I did some laps in practice, and it was not overly comfortable. Just of note tonight, Tyler Fody is not here. He is the champion of the season, so congratulations to Tyler Fody on that. But down on the grid, here are the 8 cars starting tonight. Ignore me there in 7th, but Jared Rexing on the pole, Ethan Stanley on his outside, Bill Tyler, Mark Murphy there, row number 2, with Rory Collins and Craig Forsyth in row number 3. Rounding out the field is Kendall, Noah Player, and Bill Colley. Dave, I know this is, I believe, your first or second Lotus race of the season, and what have you thought of the series so far?
First race, I did the qualifying, broadcast the qualifying. So the cars, I've watched most all the races. They're fun to watch. They really I kind of call them like, they look like little water bugs. You used to go out on like little streams here where I live and grew up, and you had those little like water bugs that would just float on the top and had like those 4 legs sticking out. And that's kind of what they look like on the screen as they dance around and kind of dart in and out each other. But it's pretty exciting racing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. One thing to note is if somebody does get the outside wall, you will see something very comparable to a tornado, as these cars definitely like to go for a bit of a spin around on the racetrack, and it makes for some very interesting pictures. As you see the field going around here for the 1 pace lap. Like I mentioned, 8 cars taking the start tonight. Dave, why don't we go ahead and make a race pick here? I'll let you start since you're the guest up here in the booth tonight.
Oh, I'll take Ethan Stanley tonight.
Ethan Stanley, the 91, starting on the outside pole. Solid pick. I'm going to go just a little bit further back tonight, and with a couple of the high hitters not being here, I think tonight's the night Bill Tyler picks up a victory here in the Lotus Series, Warriors for Peace Classic Series, as the pace car makes its way down to pit road. Jared Rexing on the loud pedal, green flag, and we are underway here tonight for the Phoenix 100. As you see, Jared Rexing gets a nice launch there on the grid. Ethan Stanley is well able to set sail, get ahead of a couple of the cars chasing behind. Here's Bill Tyler in 3rd, running on his own, ahead of Mark Murphy, Craig Forsyth. Rory Collins looks to the outside of Forsyth, gets a little bit too high, nearly gets the outside wall, which is something I struggled with in practice, and I know a bunch of these guys are as well. Kendall Noah Player there with his first start, and Bill Colley a little bit further back, trying to work his way up through this field.
Take them long to get single filed out, of course, so now we'll have to see how much passing we get.
Yeah, we mentioned single file, and then we see Ethan Stanley look to the inside of Jared Rexing here, battling for our race lead. Looks like Bill Colley just had a moment there. He has crashed down in, I believe that to be turn number 3, as Colley's going to come around, head his way down to pit road. Kendall Noah Player has just crashed out of the race as well. He finds himself down on pit road. Started 8, lap number 3, we're down to 6 here. If I get in my car now, I might be able to gain a few positions and snag a top 5 here tonight.
You could just jump in the car and run out to get yourself up a position and park it again and come back and broadcast.
Yeah, I don't know that Chad would enjoy that very much. His wife said he couldn't race tonight. I think he spends too much time on the computer, but if he saw that, I don't think he'd be too happy.
And that would differ how?
I'm not sure, Dave. I'm really not too sure, but shout out to Bill Colley. He had his incident there, still out on the racetrack. We're going to go back on the Revilus Photography replay machine here, see what happened to Bill Colley earlier on. Of course, green flag still out on the racetrack. I believe Bill may have just had a little loop down here. We'll take a look as he enters turn number 3. Yeah, goes around. Doesn't hit anything, so all good there for Bill Colley. But I think Kendall Noah player had a bigger moment himself. It looks like he was chasing down Rory Collins here as we watch the Kendall Noah player machine. He goes around and up into the wall. Doesn't turn into a tornado, so that's one positive for Kendall Noah player, but unfortunate for him, he is out of his first start here in the Warriors for Peace Classic Series as Jared Rexing and Ethan Stanley continue to do battle here for the race lead. I believe the only battle on the racetrack, I stand corrected, Craig Forsyth, Mark Murphy side by side. That's Murphy on the high side, Forsyth down on the bottom here. Forsyth does get ahead to move to the 4th position ahead of the man formerly known as Murph Markey.
Were you able to get a feel for any draft here? Did they have any draft advantage as they pull up behind them?
There's definitely a little bit of a draft advantage, nothing too heavy, as these cars don't really have a front wing or anything like that to really play with that draft and downforce aspect of things, but draft always helps here. As you see Rory Collins getting a big dose of the suck there behind Mark Murphy, able to get a bit closer, nearly wheel to wheel actually for the 5th position. Ooh, as I believe that's Craig Forsyth gets in the outside wall. Bill Colley very slow on the bottom. He's just out there doing laps, so credit once again to Bill Colley, just continuing to turn some laps out here and try to put on a show for those watching at home.
Well, why don't you take us on board with somebody and talk us through, especially me. I don't really understand. I've never driven these cars. No, if you're lifting through the corners, if you actually brake going into the corners.
We're going to go on board with Ethan Stanley, and as you just saw there down into turn number 1, it's a very early break and potentially a downshift as well. That's something I experimented with. Yeah, absolutely downshift there. As you saw Ethan, you can see him there downshifting through turn number 3. Just look at how much steering he has to put in. We'll wait for the straightaway here because I found I had to do a lot of counter steering on the straightaway just to keep it straight. You can see his hands moving a lot, and if you're in a comfortable car, that's not going to happen. But a car like this, Lotus, you're always having to battle that machine, doing what you can to keep it straight, and the car's working against your every movement. So very interesting car. I don't have a lot of experience in it, Dave, but the experience I do have is very scary. As you see Ethan Stanley there.
In the 500, that would have been an embarrassment.
You absolutely should have driven in the 500. Look who's joined the battle now. Bill Tyler up there in the 3rd position. Just behind your pick, Ethan Stanley. As Stanley looks to the inside of Jared Rexing. Mark Murphy is battling back there with Craig Forsyth, but the battle's on. Ethan Stanley, Jared Rexing side by side here, coming off of turn number 4, heading down that front straightaway towards the start-finish line. Leading that lap, Jared Rexing, as Ethan Stanley does fall back in line just a little bit, still working his way, trying to get up there. Bill Colley's had a big moment. This may lead to our first caution of the night. No, it does not. He gets it down off of the racetrack, picking up the pace once again. Here come the leaders, Ethan Stanley, Jared Rexing, continue to be side by side as we do stay green here in the Phoenix 100. Lap 13, as Ethan Stanley gets a little bit too close for comfort with that outside wall. Puts up a little bit of a smoke screen on Jared Rexing, but able to continue to lead the way here.
Would be exciting if we could just watch these guys swap positions all night. That would be good. The one thing I like to watch about these cars is you absolutely positively cannot touch. Every time I've ever seen that, one car flies. Dead on side to side.
If you hit wheels side to side, there is an opportunity to potentially be able to be okay. but it's when you hit just a little bit off center and your wheel ends up going over the other driver's wheel. That's when you turn into a little bit of a tornado. But one thing I want to point out here, look at the gap between Bill Tyler and Mark Murphy. It is an entire straightaway difference. Mark Murphy 8 seconds behind the third place car, so that is a huge gap from first, second, and third back to fourth, fifth, and sixth, who are also all together here. That's Craig Forsyth on the high side. Just behind him, Rory Collins. And that's actually your entire field at this point. Kendall Noah player has retired for the night. Bill Colley on pit road. He did sustain heavy damage not too long ago. So he's also... Oh, Ethan Stanley around.
Like he's going to be okay.
Caution is out, Dave.
That'll cut him a break. He'll only drop the 2 positions and be able to catch right back up to him.
That 8-second gap really, I mean, 6th to 3rd, not huge difference anyways. Watching the Ethan Stanley machine, I think he just got in too hot. Yeah, you can see the car starting to step out right there. And then Jared Rexing is likely forcing some air onto the rear of the Ethan Stanley machine right there. A little bit of air goes under the rear end of the 91, sends Ethan Stanley around. Caution number 1 of the evening there. And thank you to Mark J. Rubilis, RubilisPhoto.com, for all your photography needs, for presenting our replays here tonight. Of course, we have to give a shout out to Blue Egg Marketing, the marketing department for small businesses, small business owners. Blue Egg is your biggest fan. And of course, Worldwide Technology Raceway, home to a 1.25-mile oval, a 2-mile road course, quarter-mile drag strip, and a state-of-the-art karting facility known as the Kartplex. Check out Worldwide Technology Raceway today. And Warriors for Peace, our premier partner here for the series. Warriors for Peace is a foundation promoting peaceful change in the world to honor the beautiful life of Jack Shockley. Check out warriorsforpeace.org for more information. Dave, as these drivers come down pit road, we're going to take a pit stop of our own. We'll be back in about a minute and a half here to take you through the middle portion of tonight's event.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
We are back here at Phoenix International Raceway. We are under our first caution here on lap number 20. The lights are about to go off on the iRacing.com pace car. And under that commercial break, you heard from our friends at iRacing.com, as well as TA Services, one of our great premier partners here in the Elite Racing League. This caution was due to a spin by Ethan Stanley. Ethan Stanley came down pit road with the rest of the field and was able to actually jump back into that race lead. So nice gain on pit road by Ethan Stanley. So a spin to the lead, Dave.
Yeah, it looks like we need to kick our ticker. It shows him still in the pit, but yeah, it was a good recovery by Ethan. I don't know if he just made a much faster pit stop than everybody else, or
Well, if we go by the ticker, all that means is that he's just taking a really long pit stop. It just doesn't want to tell us. Oh, there he is. He's off pit road now. First caution of the day. Lights are off on the iRacing.com pace car, and we're going to get going green. We'll ride on the gearbox of Ethan Stanley. You see the Jared Rexing machine just behind him as they do get back underway. Ethan Stanley continuing to lead ahead of Jared Rexing, Bill Tyler, Craig Forsyth, Mark Murphy, and Rory Collins. Unfortunately, DNFs here for Bill Colley and Kendall Noah Player. But 6 cars still out here on the racetrack looking to snag a victory before the end of this Warriors for Peace Classic Series. Of course, next week we move to a radio-style broadcast of another open wheel series that we're not really allowed to talk about, but
It's a very popular open wheel series here in America.
yeah, if you want to know what it is, just Google Joseph Newgarden and Alex Palou, Padwell Ward, those guys.
Those guys that are at Long
it's
Beach
that series.
Weekend.
Are they Long Beach this weekend, Dave?
Long Beach this weekend.
That's a street circuit, isn't it?
Yep, they'll be on the track starting tomorrow. That'll be on my screen, watching the practice from Long Beach. It's always a great race.
Well, as these guys are out here turning laps, Dave.
Uh-oh. Somebody high there. Like he saved it. 4th spot there.
Yeah, it looks like it was Craig Forsyth right there. He's been playing with danger just a little bit here. But as these guys are out here turning some laps, I know typically, I do believe you go to the Indy 500. Is that correct, Dave?
I do not go to the 500 race itself. It's a little bit of just a personal issue I have with large crowds. Chad's tried to talk me through it, but I'm over 50 years old, and it's been something I've dealt with my entire life. But I do spend a lot of time at the track during the month of May. I just don't go to the race. So
you head down for practice, carb day, things like that?
Yep, I always get a bronze badge that gives me the full access to the pits, or not to the pits, but to the gasoline alley. And usually we'll head down probably the second day of practice. Not much goes on the first day of practice. But usually we'll rent a house there in Speedway and spend every day out at the track that we can, and just kind of walk in and watch some action on the track when they're out there, and go back. And in open wheel series gives great access to the drivers and great access to the crews, and it's a fun time. I always have a good time. The full day is always real big. Bump day is really big, even though they haven't bumped lately. And then I kind of just stay away once the crowds get in there, carb day and beyond. I just kind of stay away and enjoy it at home. So.
And what would you say is your greatest memory around that racetrack?
Probably it would definitely be all the weekends I spent there, all the days I spent there with my dad. Dad took me to the track probably when I was about 7 or 8, and got me hooked. And then I was a huge Rick Mears fan through all his years at the track, and whole day was always awesome. I would, you get the bucket of chicken and the cooler of beer, and you spend the whole day at the track. And some of the funniest memories, though, are the ones where you didn't see any track action, where it would rain and qualifications would be rained out that day. But it was an hour drive for us from where we lived, and we already had everything packed, and we had all our food. So you'd sit up in the covered bleachers in the rain and spend the day there anyway, and wave at the little tour bus that went by every hour or so of people taking the tour of the track, and you just wave at them as they went by. So those were really fun.
That definitely does sound fun. Unfortunately, I've never made it down to Indy before, but I do hope to get there maybe next year. Watch a bit of the action, see what's going on around that racetrack. My all-time favorite NASCAR driver picked up his one and only Cup victories at that course. So to me, that place will always be pretty special as you see Jared Rexing and Ethan Stanley battling for the race lead here on the racetrack.
It's kind of odd that you always have qualifying for Indianapolis is 4 laps, right? So
yes.
anytime you go to the museum that's at the track and you take a tour of the track, the back of your ticket thanks you for completing a lap at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So over the course of my life, I've taken 4 laps, and I've had many opportunities to take the tour again when I go down with groups, and I don't, because there's something about having 4 tickets for my 4-lap qualification that just seems right. And they'll laugh at me and I'll be like, hey, you like what you like. So
But if you do it
I've
4 more times, then you can see you have 2 qualifying attempts.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to. That's a big commitment at my age to know if I'm going to take 4 more laps before I'm running out of people who haven't been to the track before. So maybe if you come down and we meet up down there, we'll ride the tour and I'll start the next 4. I think Chad is going to try to come down for a qualification weekend eventually, so I can meet up with him. But he tries to get me to come to the race day, but I just not going to do it.
Bill Colley absolutely very slow on the racetrack. It does bring out a yellow flag here, 20 miles per hour for Bill Colley. That is the cause of our most recent caution here. As you see, Bill was just slowing up. I wonder if potentially he had... This is when he left the pits. Let's see if there's anything here. As you watch on the Robilus Photography replay machine, we're watching Bill Colley here. We're going to go on board. Oh, he gets the wall and his motor blows, I do believe. Oh, his steering is all messed up. So Bill was just trying to get to pit road here, and unfortunately just no opportunity to do so. It does bring out the yellow flag. I do believe that will end the evening of Bill Colley here with his second tally of the night. Ethan Stanley, Jared Rexing, Bill Tyler, Craig Forsyth, Mark Murphy, Rory Collins, the running order currently. If I do 1 lap, Dave, I will get credited with a top 10 in this series.
There you go. That'd get you invited to the banquet at the end of the year and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately...
Do we have an off-track admin for tonight?
It is supposed to be Jonathan Cutlip. I haven't heard from him yet this evening. So I'm not sure if maybe...
John gets bored, he can join us in here.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure if John is on right now. Oh, he is. Interesting. But anyways, down on the racetrack, Dave, like we said, Ethan Stanley, Jared Rexing, Bill Tyler have all been really strong here tonight. I think only leaders we've had have been the top 2, but Bill Tyler has been right there as well. Kind of flirting with an opportunity to potentially lead some laps, and hopefully we do see that shortly out of the 23 machine. That's my pick to take the victory tonight. Last night, though, Dave, out on the Elite Racing Network, we did 600 miles around the Charlotte Motor Speedway. What were your thoughts on that event?
Well, some of us were there for the full 600 miles.
I was there in spirit.
I have differing thoughts about running the full-length races like that. They are brutal to broadcast just because that's such a long 4 hours in a chair is long time. But then again, the drivers had 4 hours in the chair. I think it makes it go by for them quicker, and you have to deal with it. I can't imagine.
Absolutely not.
Depending on your force feedback on your wheel, that your arms just have to be screaming by the time you're done with 4 hours.
I think the hardest thing was actually, Josh Adams mentioned this on the broadcast last night when Mark Murphy and himself, I'll actually show Mark on the screen here because he had the question to Josh Adams about what he does to deal with these full-length races, and Josh mentioned that it's all about your equipment and being comfortable. I know myself personally, I have a computer chair that's kind of cheap, kind of worn out, and it gets really, really uncomfortable in those long races. And when the race finishes, you were just excited to stand up, but your body, not so much. Your body just does not want to get up off that chair.
Yeah, and then the flip side of it is Mark Murphy was telling us about his setup, which he has a full rig. Where
he's like taking naps during the race or something. Like,
yeah, he's actually seated in the position of a Dallara IR-18, where he's almost laying down the entire time. And so,
Now, Mark doesn't do much of the NASCAR stuff. He races with us Tuesday nights in the pitpassnetwork.com ARCA series, as well as Sunday night in the Stay Tuned Esports Truck series. It's got to be a weird feeling laying down while racing one of the NASCAR stock cars. I don't know. I don't think I could do it.
yeah, you
Craig
would have
Forsyth
to tweak your camera
losing
view quite
spots.
a bit too.
You would definitely, well, your camera view, not necessarily, unless he has his driver height and field of view set based off of an open wheel car, which I know Mark does a lot of. So all of those things would play a factor. I definitely think he's the most comfortable out of anybody when it comes to the long races, but I also don't know that I'd want to be laying down for 400 laps around Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Just think of how uncomfortable it had to be in the real world to run 400 laps in some of those cars they used to run in those days.
Yeah, well,
You know, they did it too. So,
you know, you actually think
breathing
back to
carbon dioxide fumes and
you
having
think back
rags
to
in their
some of those older. Oh, Craig Forsyth has just crashed on the racetrack. Caution is out here. Rory Collins, I think, just picked up a piece of that as well. Craig is getting his car spun back around. He'll tow to the pits. That should be the end of the night for Craig Forsyth. We'll take a look on the Robilas photo replay machine. Did exactly what I did in practice. Got in a bit too hot in the corner, and you can see he's battling throughout the entire corner. Nearly wrecks ahead of Mark Murphy, and Rory Collins does get by there. But Craig Forsyth, heavy impact on that number 27 machine. He is on pit road getting it fixed up, though, so that's a good sign. But, you know, you think back on some of those old stock cars, Dave, and they had a lot more comfortable seats because there was a lot more padding compared to now where, for the most part, it's kind of a piece of metal with some padding on it. But the one big difference is back then, if it was hot in the car, it was hot. You didn't have an air-conditioned driver suit and a helmet blower and all that stuff. Like, yes, you had an open face helmet, but you were still hot.
No water system, giving you a drink anytime you wanted it.
So that's actually one difference between NASCAR and the open wheel side. NASCAR, you have a water bottle with a long straw. So you're having to grab it to take a sip under cautions. And if you get long green flag runs, unless you're on the straightaway by yourself, a lot of times you're not getting a drink. Where in open wheel, you just press a button and it's like there's an infinite amount of water just coming through your helmet.
That's
Which
gotta
is
feel
where,
weird though. That basically that straw is inside your mouth the entire time, so it's
because
you
it's
just get used to having it in your mouth.
it's a bite piece, is it not?
Yeah,
I think.
so. It just squirts in it to you.
Yeah, and
You
Dave
still have to be
loves.
able to talk. So
Yeah, I mean, it would be weird being squirted in the face during a race. That's yeah. There's another one for the old recording machine, but that's where Kimi Räikkönen actually struggled in his first few NASCAR starts back in the truck series. He kept complaining that he would run out of water. He'd yell that, oh, the water bottle's too small, and, you know, give me a bigger drink bottle. And then there was the one time where they went to give him a new bottle, but they actually just gave him the old bottle back. So it was empty. And he wanted to keep pitting for water. So it's really interesting to see the different dynamics between how driver safety and driver comfort is between a stock car and an open wheel car, and just how things have progressed over the years.
Formula One, it's like Perrier that he run through it, right?
Oh, they're definitely drinking sparkling water there. Imported from the mountains of France. This beautiful spring water. Where in the US, it's just tap water. They go out to the outhouse and reach down, put through a strainer, and here's what you get. As
Leave it
Ethan,
off the bottom of the radiator and cool it, and then send it back to you.
Yeah, exactly. That's terrible. Um, 5 cars left on the
Disclaimer,
racetrack.
No one drink radiator water. Don't drink radiator water.
Unless you wreck me in an elite race, then please, go ahead. As Ethan Stanley, Jared Rexing, Bill Tyler, Mark Murphy, Rory Collins, your only 5 cars left on the racetrack. Not quite at halfway yet. Caution number 3 after an incident involving Craig Forsyth just moments ago. Ethan Stanley going to lead us back to the green flag here as he enters the restart zone. Green flag, and we're back underway here. The 91 of Ethan Stanley out front with the Nesquik car of Jared Rexing there in second. As we watch these guys, different lines here, Jared Rexing gets really high in that corner, but he gets a decent run off of the exit of turn number 4. So a couple different strategies, a couple different lines and approaches to this race course. And you know, we can't necessarily say that one way is worse than the other, or one way's right, one way's wrong, especially when these guys are the semi-professionals in these cars, where I couldn't even do more than about 2 laps in practice without turning into a bit of a tornado. So Jared Rexing doing what he feels best, and he's running down the Ethan Stanley machine here for the race lead, with Bill Tyler just behind. There's Mark Murphy and Rory Collins battling for the 4th spot on pit road. Like I mentioned, Craig Forsyth, Bill Colley, Kennel Noah player, they've actually all called it a night and retired from tonight's event. Dave side by side here. Jared Rexing to the inside of Ethan Stanley. Move Rexing up to the race lead once again as Stanley does fall back. Again, we do want to congratulate Tyler Fody on the inaugural, actually what is likely to be the one and only champion in this Lotus 49 series, but a championship nonetheless for Tyler Fody. And you know, Dave, he's going for 3 more here in the next couple of weeks across the NASCAR series, and I wouldn't be surprised if he picks up multiple titles this year.
Has he won them all yet? He has. I know he's won a truck series.
I don't think he's won a Cup championship yet.
Xfinity. He has the Classic now. He did not win the Formula One series.
He has a Classic. I think he has an Xfinity and a truck title. I don't think he has the Cup title. I may be completely wrong. He's not racing it yet. He may still sign up. You never know. Let's do another lap on board here. We're going to ride with Mark Murphy. We'll just ride along, listen to the sights and sounds of Phoenix International Raceway here. And we are back here at Phoenix. Ethan Stanley just went around for a second time tonight. That will be his second spin. I'm not sure if the off-track is here tonight to issue those tallies, but Ethan Stanley, the cause of our most recent caution here. We'll take a look and see what happened. I believe the car just stepped out on him, but the 91 did end up with some contact to the outside wall. Got in really hot there. Goes for a slide up into the wall. A bit of rear end damage, possibly some front end damage. And Ethan Stanley facing some adversity here tonight at Phoenix. Dave, I'm not sure if you made it back, but just had a big moment for Ethan Stanley.
Yeah, he stays out there in third, but we'll have to see. He's coming down pit lane.
He does come down pit lane again. I do believe this is his second caused caution. So if the off-track is here tonight, that could be the end of the evening for Ethan Stanley, putting us down to just 4 cars left on the speedway. Mark Murphy had a moment of his own not too long ago either, Dave, where he also went for a bit of a ride, did not bring out a caution, but a bit of adversity here at Phoenix.
So we'll have to see if Ethan stays parked or if he just does some damage and gets back up.
There we go, right there from race control. Number 91, self-spin, second tally of the night. So if he does not appeal one of his tallies, which I don't think he can, with them being self-spins, that does appear to be the end of the night for Ethan Stanley. So now, Jared Rexing, Bill Tyler, Rory Collins, and Mark Murphy, the 4 cars remaining on the track as Ethan Stanley does remain on pit road. We're going to take another commercial break here, and when we come back, we're going to get back to some action here at Phoenix with some new contenders up front with, unfortunately, Ethan Stanley out of tonight's event.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
We are back here at Phoenix tonight here for the Phoenix 100. Unfortunately, this caution once again caused by Ethan Stanley going for a bit of a spin. Second tally of the night for him. So that is night over. You just heard from our friends at iRacing.com and TA Services, one of our premier partners here in the Elite Racing League alongside Blue Egg Marketing. Blue Egg is the marketing department for small businesses, small business owners. Blue Egg is your biggest fan. Here's Jared Rexing leading the field back to green here. We also want to give a shout out to Worldwide Technology Raceway, motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois, home to a 1.25 mile oval, 2-mile road course, and a quarter-mile drag strip, as well as a state-of-the-art karting facility known as the Kartplex. Check out Worldwide Technology Raceway today. Also need to thank Warriors for Peace, our series sponsor here. Warriors for Peace is a foundation promoting peaceful change in the world to honor the beautiful life of Jack Shockley. Check out warriorsforpeace.org for more information. Ethan Stanley now joining us up here in the booth. Ethan, what happened out there, buddy? Absolutely not. You're still going to come home with the top 5, so that's, I guess, a positive out of that. But what's the biggest challenge that these guys are facing out here tonight? Yeah, we can definitely see that out there. We saw you go around a few times, Mark Murphy, Bill Colley as well, all with incidents here. But before I hand you over to Dave for a couple questions, first off, will you be racing with us in the upcoming open wheel series that cannot be named? And how are you feeling about that series?
See how Robert partner. He says before I hand it over to Dave to ask questions, and then he asked the 2 questions that I had lined up. Isn't that great?
Well, you can ask him about his dinner or something, Dave. What do you got?
Ethan, you've pretty much driven everything we have in the Elite Series, haven't you? Is there anything you haven't driven?
At this point, I'm pretty sure I've driven everything you guys run. Maybe I haven't run the super late models, but that's about it.
Is there anything out there that you haven't run that you wish we would?
I don't know if you guys ever run modifieds. I'd love to run those. Really, just anything on road. I know we're doing the Insta style series later on in the year. I'm excited for that. But
yeah, that'll be late 2023. I think we're going to put that in.
Yeah, I think sometime around September. I'm happy to drive really anything you guys will put on the track.
You're pretty competitive at everything we've seen you in too, as well.
So you did mention the Modifieds. Elite has run that previously in a partnership with Speed 51. I believe that was back in 2019. So that may have been before your time, but I definitely agree that should be something that maybe we look at for a little off-season fun series or something along those lines, or maybe to replace the super late models in the winter. But obviously, before we let you go for the final time in this series, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to? Any thanks you want to send out there?
Big shout out to One Up Games. I've been running their logos on my cars for the past 6 or so weeks. Of course, shout out to you guys and everybody who makes the league run. And just really happy to wrap up the championship last week, so I don't have to worry about
Well, absolutely. Congratulations on a great season once again, Ethan, and we'll see you next week in the U.S. Open Wheel Series.
Yeah, see you then.
Well, Dave, I think we got some of our information wrong there.
Yeah, I'm looking at the standings right now. Ethan won the championship.
Oh, congratulations, Ethan.
Fody finished 4th.
I'm just so used to Tyler Fody wins.
We were not prepared.
Congratulations, Ethan Stanley, on winning Tyler Fody's championship. Oops.
Yeah, so Ethan Stanley won the championship with 2,260 points. Jared Rexing came in second with 2,050 points. Bill Tyler finished the season 3rd, and then Tyler Fody 4th.
Okay. Congratulations to Ethan Stanley, our champion. And you know what? I think he's going to be a strong threat in any series that he makes the championship for in this year. As Bill Tyler looks to the inside of Jared Rexing for the race lead. Jared goes back up to the high side here to get a run off of the exit of turn number 4. He's able to do so. He's going to lead us down here with 31 laps to go at Phoenix.
So just because we don't have much else to do, what's the point system for tonight? With this being 100 lap race, you have the point system.
Yeah, let me pull that up here. Just give me 1 second here, Dave. Let me just grab that on the screen.
will be a
There we go.
100-miler.
With this being a 100-miler, there's 200 points up for the race winner. 160 to second, 140 to third, 120 to fourth, 100 for fifth place Ethan Stanley tonight, 80 points for Craig Forsyth, 60 points for Bill Colley, 50 points for Kendall Noah Player, and maybe Chad will give me 40 points there, being the 9th place car, but there is your points breakdown here. What we did all season long was, depending on the distance, it kind of multiplied a little bit to see what was up for grabs each and every night, paying the top 12 in points. So, once again, congratulations to Not Tyler Fody on the championship.
So Jared Rexing, the worst he can finish tonight is 4th now. So he's going to get 120. I don't think even if Bill Tyler wins, he can get 200. That's only going to be 80 more points. So no, he can't get the second. Looking down farther, Rory Collins was about 110 points behind Hunter Smith. So Rory is currently what, in 3rd or 4th?
Rory's in 3rd, but even if he finishes 4th, he'll get 120 points.
So he should, let's see, 120. Yeah, that would give him enough. He's going to be able to pick up the 5th spot in the series and take that away from Hunter Smith, who's not here. Down here to Mark Murphy. Ooh, this will be nice for Mark. If Mark can stick with it, he'll pass up Chad and be able to take the 14th spot away from Chad, who's not here tonight. Bumping Chad down the ladder, step on the ladder is always fun.
That's, to me, basically the equivalent of winning a championship. Anytime you can beat Chad in the points, it's a good day. And, you know, obviously, hoping to be able to do that.
That's pretty much a done deal. Since they're only 20 points apart, no matter what Mark does right now, he's going to pass Chad.
Especially with Mark being an employee of the Elite Racing League, he's our off track in the Cup Series. Anytime you can beat your boss, it's also a pretty cool moment. So congratulations to Mark Murphy, and shout out to Alex Ned here as we hit the 25 to go mark. And speaking of Mark, there's Mark. He's coming down pit road.
Oh, that. He heard us talk about it. He's already passed Chad, and he's like, that's all I was here for.
Yeah, he's like, I'm over it. I'm done. As Jared Rexing and Bill Tyler come screaming down the front straightaway, they do put Mark Murphy a lap down here. He pulls into his pit box. We'll see if he comes back out on the racetrack, possibly just picking up some fuel. As you see side by side, Bill Tyler just barely edges out Jared Rexing at this point. They continue to be side by side. Mark Murphy now exiting the pit road. Bill Tyler gets a little bit slideways off of turn number 4. 23 laps remaining in the Phoenix 100. Tyler on the bottom, Rexing on the high side. Bill Tyler, oh, he nearly went around there, Dave. I don't know if you caught that.
So close. So since we're now 25 to go, do we get to repick? Because I lost my pick. So
absolutely, let's go for it. We're gonna make some new race picks here. You have your pick of 4 cars, basically. 3 on the lead lap in Jared Rexing, Bill Tyler, and Rory Collins. And then we have 4th place Mark Murphy, who is 1 lap down.
I like winning, so I'm going to pick Jared Rexing.
Jared Rexing is Dave's pick. I'm going to double down. I'm going to stick with my boy Bill Tyler here tonight. I picked him at the start. I'm going to pick him now. Bill Tyler, my pick to be victorious here tonight in the Phoenix 100, currently running in that 2nd spot, chasing down the Nesquik guy of Jared Rexing. Rory Collins having, I believe, the night of his season at this point on the podium, trying to hold off Mark Murphy if Murphy can get his lap back. And I believe this would be Rory's first podium of the year.
Better late than never.
Absolutely, especially since there is no next week in this series. So if you can pick up a podium finish tonight, that's a pretty special moment. And any opportunity you get to be one of the top 3 finishers is big. So Rory Collins out there in third. Mark Murphy 1 lap down in fourth. Ethan Stanley, we just spoke to him. He's still on pit road in fifth. Out of the race, Craig Forsyth, Bill Colley, and Kendall Noah Player. And I do want to give a shout out to Kendall. He hasn't done much racing recently. He came tonight just to help with the field count, and unfortunately had some early incident take him out. But shout out to him anyways for coming and giving this a shot. This is not an easy car to drive, and
Jesus. Sorry, somebody just scared the crap out of me here. Hold on, let me.
Dave Huckleberry just having an Alex Ned moment right there, getting absolutely terrified on the broadcast. But we're gonna ride on board with Rory Collins here for a lap or two, and then we'll take you down to the finish of the race. And we are back here at Phoenix riding on board with Jared Rexing. We just went through the remaining 4 cars out here right now. Jared Rexing, Bill Tyler, Rory Collins, Mark Murphy. And, you know, I mentioned to Dave off air here a moment ago, that onboard that we just had with Jared Rexing is going to be the last onboard that you're going to see in an open wheel car here on Elite Racing Network, probably for a little while.
Yeah, it could be exciting, though. I'm anxious to see, or not see, I'm anxious to hear the open wheel broadcast. And of course, I grew up listening to every 500 being in Indiana blackout. So even though I didn't go to see the live race,
wait.
Live on TV either.
It was blacked out, even though you lived there?
That's still a thing to this day. There have been 2 years where they lifted the blackout. For the 100th running, they lifted the blackout.
Is there a reason?
And during COVID, I think it's just a local affiliate deal. I think they have the ability to lift it if they want. They let the IMS Speedway decide if they want to have it broadcast locally or not. It's not an NBC or ABC thing. It's just always been that way. That when I grew up, you couldn't watch it live. You could listen to it live, and then they would rebroadcast it that night at 8 o'clock. So you would just go inside and watch the race after you already know who won. But as we grew up, what you kind of did was, if you went to the race or if you listened to the race, you would then watch the race later that night. But then now, as they have the ability to stream services and you can watch it live here now, no matter what, you still can't watch it on local TV, but you can go watch it on Peacock. I found that even though I watched the race live, I still watched it at 8 o'clock on 13. So it's kind of neat. But yeah, if you lived in Indiana, you either went to the race or you watched it on delay. You never watched it live.
That shocks me a little bit. It's
And
the
there were
entire
times even in
state?
yeah, anybody who got their broadcast feed for ABC, which was what it was for years, if they got their broadcast feed from Indianapolis, WRTV, then they were blacked out. Now, if you live close enough to the line, which I do live close to Illinois, when I was really young, we had a second ABC station that came out of Champaign, Illinois. We could watch it live on that channel. And then for a lot of years, we also would drive to Danville, Illinois, which is across the state line. And when they built a BW3 over there, we would go over there and watch the race live at the BW. And we could watch it because they were. And then I think if you're probably in the extreme, if you can get up north and get it out of Chicago, you could probably watch it.
Oh, Mark Murphy.
Mark, you were doing better off in the pits.
Oh my gosh. Mark giving us what is likely our final tornado in the Warriors for Peace Classic Series. Let's see what happened here. Mark was actually running just behind Bill Tyler. Ooh, Mark. Oh my. Mark
Not
Murphy. I think he's out of the race and in the infield care center here as Jared Rexon coming around to 4 laps to go. 9/10 of a second over Bill Tyler. Tyler's been cutting into that lead bit by bit here the last little while. As you see, a strong charge, 0.2 of a second was gained. Some of it just lost there into turn number 1, but Bill Tyler trying to do whatever he can to get up to Jared Rexing. I'm kind of in shock, Dave, that you couldn't watch the race live, even though you lived right there.
Yep, that was just part of being in Indiana during the month of May, which is maybe why we spent so much time at the track when it wasn't race day. Actually, if you're going to get into trivia, the first time I ever watched the race live would have been 1994, and I watched it live from Calgary, Canada.
Hey!
As I was on my honeymoon.
You honeymooned in Calgary?
No, we honeymooned in Banff, in the mountains.
Very cool.
We flew into Calgary, and we happened to be there on race day in the state. And I got up that morning and I told my wife, I said, today's the 500. And I said, I bet we can watch it somewhere. So we went to a bar in Canada and at like noon our time or something. And they didn't have anything on the TV, and I talked them into putting the race on, and we watched the race, and it was kind of emotional. Back home again in Indiana was played for the first time, and I wasn't home in Indiana, which I'd been my entire life. So I got a little misty-eyed, and it was fun to watch the race live. It was in the heyday of the Penske days, and I enjoyed it. So.
Well, Dave, white flag is out here at Phoenix. It is Ethan Stanley by 0.6 of a second over Bill Tyler here, off into turn number 3 for the final time. Off of 4 now. Here comes Jared Rexing. He is going to be the final winner here in the Warriors for Peace Classic Series. Rexing first, Tyler second, and here he comes. Rory Collins into turn number 3 for his first podium in the Warriors for Peace Classic Series. Rory Collins finishes P3 tonight. Mark Murphy 4th, Ethan Stanley 5th, Craig Forsyth 6th, Bill Colley 7th, Kendall Noah Player comes home in 8th, but all night long it has been Jared Rexing leading the way, and here he comes to celebrate his victory.
One funny note we missed from the YouTube chat, the time you caught Bill Colley in the pits, he had to make a bio break.
Yeah, you know what? I don't blame you, Bill. That is
That happens.
that happens quite often. We're going to take a commercial break, see if we can gather some of our podium finishers here, and when we come back, we'll talk to whoever wants to talk to us.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we're back here at Phoenix. It was the Phoenix 100 here tonight, and Jared Rexing picking up the race victory here tonight. And he is actually just about to join us up here in the booth. Actually, we have all three of our podium finishers tonight, so we're going to kick it off with Rory Collins. Rory, it's Robert and Dave up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, guys.
Nice to see you out there on the podium tonight. Rory, how good does it feel to close out this season and this series with a podium finish?
Well, I'm not sure if I was third or if I was last, but it felt like I was last out there. But kidding aside, I mean, out there, you think there was a big gap in front of me, and then Mark had some problems behind me, so I was just out there being a loner out there, and you think you could just relax and cruise, but with these cars, man, in a split second, it'll wipe you out.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw quite a bit of craziness tonight. I did some laps myself in practice, and the car was not very comfortable. What would you say was the biggest challenge that you dealt with out there tonight?
Well, it would get loose coming out of 4, and then going, of course, diving into 3 was a challenge. So those were probably the two main spots where you had to be easy with the throttle.
Absolutely. I definitely agree from my experience out there in practice. I'm going to hand you over to Dave Huckleberry here, see if he has any questions, maybe about the upcoming Open Wheel Series, and he'll get your shout-outs as well. But congratulations on third tonight.
Yeah, Rory, when I talked to you via Discord earlier today, you said you weren't I didn't know who you were. I apologize for that. You said you weren't a celebrity. Now looky here, you're on a podium, right? So now you're a celebrity. You've now made the podium in an open wheel race for the Elite Racing Series. Are you going to be running the Open Wheel Series that we start next week?
Probably not. Those cars are a little different, and that to my liking. So I'm still going to run the 2 stock car ones on Monday and Tuesday night, and then I promised my son we're going to run Thursday night dirt stuff on officials. So I'll let him kick my butt at that.
All right, we want to give you the opportunity for the last time this season to give your shout outs to all the people that make it happen for you.
Well, I thank Chad and thank Jonathan for doing his thing with race control, and thank you guys for putting on a broadcast. That makes it a lot of fun, and the guys race really good. I mean, you got a good crop of drivers in this league. And I'd like to thank Boo Boo Big's Sigs, and I would like to thank Mika Peak's cat statues, who are my sponsors, made up sponsors.
Well, that's one heck of a list of sponsors, Rory. Congratulations on your third place finish tonight, and we look forward to seeing you out there in some of the stock cars.
All right, thanks, guys.
Dave, that was Rory Collins, our third place finisher here tonight, with some sponsors that I don't know that I could even say at this point. Booka Boog or something like that. But now joining us up in the booth is Bill Tyler. Bill, you got a copy.
Yep, hello.
Congratulations on your runner-up finish tonight, Bill. You were my pick to take the victory. Came up just a little bit short. Do you think there was anything you could have done a little bit differently to potentially have a shot at Jared at the end of this thing?
Yeah, maybe. I think overall he was faster. I took a few attempts down the inside, but I could never, get off the corner fast enough. So he just kind of repassed me. So like, yeah, I don't really know what I could have done.
Now, looking back at the race tonight, obviously, we just heard from Rory Collins. He mentioned a couple of the challenges that he faced tonight. What would you say was the biggest challenge that you faced in your car here at Phoenix?
Yeah, I think getting the power down out of two and out of four were the hardest. I was shifting down to fourth, and I think that really helped me out of turn two. But out of turn four, I was kind of struggling to get on the gas without breaking the rear end. So I think that was kind of the hardest part.
And looking back on the season as a whole, how would you rate how you did out there?
Yeah, overall, I'm really happy. Yeah, I think Ethan and Jared were both, and Tyler too. They were all faster than me all season, but I was able to kind of hang up there with them a little bit. So I'm really happy about that.
Absolutely. I'd be pretty happy if I ran a season like you did as well. I'm going to hand you over to Dave Huckleberry, see if he has any questions for you, and then we'll get to your shout-outs.
Congratulations, Bill, on your second place finish. I know. Ask you a little bit about what's in store for you in iRacing now that this season has come to a close. I didn't see your name on the list for the IR18, but is the Lotus 49 something you like to run, or what else do you do that you like to do on iRacing?
Yeah, so I've never even raced the IR18, so yeah, so I don't know about that. But yeah, the 49 is my main car, so after this, I'll keep going with the official series. That's the thing I've been running for almost 4 years now. So yeah, my favorite car, my favorite series. Yeah, I was really happy to join these guys and do kind of like a mostly oval, a little bit road course league. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and you had a real solid year. We know it takes a lot to put people out here and a lot of people to thank. Go ahead and give your shout outs tonight for everybody who made it possible for you.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the Elite Racing League for putting on this league. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. A lot of fun. I'd like to thank everyone that I was racing with. Jared, Tyler, Ethan, um, and yeah, I'd like to thank the regular Lotus 49 community. It's a really great series, kind of like a league mentality. A lot of great people and a lot of fun there too. Um, yeah, and I'd just like to give another shout out to Doug Nelson. He's been battling, so we're all thinking about you.
Well, Bill, congratulations on a great season and your runner-up finish here tonight. We wish you all the best in your future racing, and we hope to see you back here in the Elite Racing League in the future.
Yep, thanks a lot, guys.
That was Bill Tyler, the runner-up finisher here tonight, Dave, and now we have our race winner, and we'll let you get started with the questions here, Dave, with Jared Rexing.
Jared, this is Dave up in the booth. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I got you.
Congratulations. That's a 3 in a row for you, right? Toward the end of the season?
Yeah, 3 in a row. Finished off strong, but not as consistent enough as Ethan to take home the championship. But it was fun winning toward the end there.
Tell us a little bit about your night and what this Lotus 49 car has been like to drive this season.
Yeah, really chilled night. I mean, you guys saw attendance just kind of dropped off
Yeah.
toward the end of the season. But I say chill, but no lap is chill in this thing. It's a challenge to drive every lap everywhere we go. So I enjoyed the challenge. Some guys maybe not, but I think it's fun. I mean, I could run this thing. I could be the only car on track and have fun driving this thing. So it was fun for me.
All right, I'll turn you over to my buddy Robert there. He can ask you about your future plans for the Elite Racing leagues and let you give your shout out.
Yeah, Jared, looking ahead to the U.S. Open Wheel Series that we have coming up starting next week, actually, at the Indy GP. How you feeling about that series, and what's your outlook for the season as a whole?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to getting back into those things. These things are a lot of fun, but those cars are just, they're current, so that makes it more fun. But they're just there's so much strategy involved in those cars and picking your line with dirty air. So I'm really looking forward to it. And where's our first race at?
Indy Road Course, I
Pocono.
believe. Oh, Pocono. I
Oh,
thought it was Indy.
Pocono.
Yeah, we're at
Pocono.
Pocono.
All right, starting it off with a long, fast oval, so that'll be fun. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot more competitive than these things were, that's for sure. But yeah, I can't wait to get back into those things.
Yeah, definitely should be an exciting series. But just quickly to put a bow on this past Lotus 49 series, is there one race that really stood out to you as a lost opportunity to potentially put yourself even closer in that championship battle?
I think you could pick any one of the road courses. I mean, I had a good run at Monza. I think I finished sixth there, and that's when we had 25 guys racing. But yeah, I had good pace on the road courses. I just couldn't finish any of them. So if I could just not wreck in the road courses, I think it'd be pretty close between me and Ethan. He was fast everywhere. I had the ovals down, I think, but yeah, if I could just stay out of trouble on the road courses, and most of it was my fault, really. So, but overall, Ethan was consistent and fast, and he deserves it. So I'm fine with second.
Yeah, second is definitely a strong result for sure. And for the final time this season, Jared, any shout outs you want to give? Anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, thanks to you guys for sticking with it. I'm sure it wasn't the most exciting thing to broadcast with just four guys on track there, but thank you for sticking with it, and everyone in the league. And as always, shout out to my beautiful wife waiting on me to get out of here. So thank you guys.
Well, we'll let you get out of there, get back to your wife, and we'll see you next. Well, actually, we'll see you Sunday night in the Truck Series, but we'll see you next week here in the Open Wheel.
All right, I'll see you guys. Take care.
Have a good night, Jared. That's Jared Rexing, our winner here tonight, Dave. And just before we wrap this one up, any final thoughts from you?
No, I thought overall this series, I was a fan for most of it. Got to broadcast the qualifying, and now got to be in the number 2 seat for one race. But I really like the cars. I haven't driven it yet. I own it now. I've given you some grief about having to buy it, but I think I may go out and drive it. I've had a little bit of appreciation for how tough it is to drive, so I'll never have any delusions that I can race it. But I enjoy going out to an open track and just trying to see what I can do by myself and have a good time. So, but this has been a good series. I think it filled in a need where we had it. We really like open wheel in Elite. That's kind of where Elite got its start, I believe. At least with the made a name and with me in the full length open wheel races. So it was good to be able to have something to run this time during this time of year when we should be running open wheel, and I'm anxious to get back to it next week.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to getting back to it next week with the radio style broadcasts. Going to be a little bit different, but you know what? We've dealt with some curveballs before, and we'll do it again. We'll do our best job to bring you all the action, some great descriptions of what's going on, so you can feel like you're right there with us. But I definitely have to thank the Lotus 49 community for embracing this series and joining us tonight. We got drivers like Bill Tyler and Rory Collins, Bill Colley, guys like that joined us for the series that maybe typically wouldn't take part in an Elite series. And I do hope they come back. I do hope we see them again. But also have to give a thanks to Chad for putting this on, John Cutlip for race controlling, you for joining me tonight, Derik for joining me all season. Chris and Wyatt both stepped in at some points as well. Have to thank Warriors for Peace for presenting this series, TA Services, Blue Lake Marketing, Worldwide Technology Raceway, Robilus Photography, all of our partners here at Elite, and thanks to everyone at home that's tuned in all season long. Like I said, we'll see you back here next week, same time, same place, just a little bit different. But be sure to tune in Sunday night as Dave Huckleberry and Gerald Campbell walk us through the regular season finale doubleheader in the Stay Tuned Esports Truck Series. But for now, my name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me tonight has been Dave Huckleberry, and this has been another production of the Elite Racing Network. Have a good night, everybody.